Yeah, CJ Stroud. Let's start with the quarterback who, I mean, he's played really good ball since coming back from the concussion. I know that it was a much closer game than anybody anticipated versus the Raiders, but you know what? That happens in the NFL. And what you want to see are good teams find a way to overcome some of their deficiencies that day and pull off a victory, and they got it done. Stroud's getting the ball to Nico Collins, and I know last week could have been a bigger game for Nico Collins. Dalton Schultz is the one that scored the touchdown, but they got the win. And I think for both of these teams, like this is a very important game for both of these teams. Both of these teams, a win will go a long way for their playoff seeding and the playoff picture. When Houston has the ball, it's CJ Stroud. I'm not sure what we're going to get from the running game. It looks like Woody Marks is back in practice. Last week, we talked about Jawar Jordan, and it was Nick Chubb who started off the game running the ball. Now, Jordan did look good in spurts when he came in,
Hmm.
but you're adding another body to the backfield, whom he'll probably get dinged up at some point because that's what Woody Marks does. Is there another option for Houston? What's going to have to happen in this game, in my opinion, the Texans are going to have to throw to somebody else as well. It cannot just be Nico Collins. If they just think that they're going to ISO and throw the ball from Stroud to Nico and that's going to get it done, they're going to have to find another option to get the ball to. And when you look at Dallas's game plan last week, that's what they did. CeeDee Lamb was involved, but Flournoy was involved early. George Pickens was involved to keep this San Diego defense at bay. This is truly strength on strength here. This is a very, very difficult matchup for the Chargers. And for the Texans, I think both offenses are going to face some resistance because these defenses are really, really good. The Chargers defense is good, number 3 in total yards allowed per game. That is the San Diego Chargers. Rushing yards allowed per game, 10th best. 305 rushing yards allowed since week 12, the fewest in the NFL. And then passing, like you just can't throw on them. Both of these teams are under 130, 180 passing yards per game over the last month. This is over the course of the season. I didn't even segment this thing out. Like they are not allowing any yards through the air. So the efficiency from Stroud, their commitment to the run game, by which I give Houston credit. It may not be at
Yeah.
5-10 yards a clip every week, but they're going to run the ball. It doesn't matter who's back there. They're going to establish it with D'Amico Ryan. So when Houston has the ball, like 39 and a half point total in this one. This is with the Chargers favored by 2 points. This is projected to be a very low scoring game, Matt.
Yeah, and it makes sense too. Even as you said, when CJ Stroud has been back, he obviously, I agree with you. He has been good. But in terms of the overall volume of the passing attack, he has not cleared 280 yards in any game. The two games that he's been the most productive from a stats perspective, yardage wise, it's been Indianapolis, it's been Arizona. Obviously, Arizona is a travesty of a defense. They've been the worst defense in the
Yeah.
league in the second half of the year, or at least one of them. And the Raiders game was definitely a little bit concerning, I would say. And the other concerning note here for the Texans in terms of, I do think they could potentially win this game, and I think the offense could have some success. But typically, when Houston's passing offense has been firing off, it's been Nico Collins dominating against man coverage. This Texans team plays, this Chargers team plays a ton of zone coverage. They did, again, to my surprise, ISO up on Pickens more than I thought, played some more man looks, or maybe it's zone that turns into match, whatever you want to call it. But there were more isolated situations for him. I would tend to doubt that's going to happen against Nico Collins because he's so clearly the alpha in that room. CJ Stroud, even since he's been back and he's been playing well, he ranks 18th among starters in adjusted yards per attempt against zone coverage.
Yeah. And the Chargers defense is good, right? Like this pass rush can get home. They've got now, I believe their starting linebacker Perryman is suspended for a game or
Mm-hmm.
two for his hit on Flournoy last week. So that's a little bit of a downgrade, but one player, probably linebacker, not going to make or break this defense. That's why I keep saying they're going to have to find somebody else to get the ball to. Dalton Schultz is going to be involved, and he's been involved. He's been one of the better tight ends this second half of the season. Who is it that steps up to take some of the pressure away from Nico? Because here's what I don't think is going to happen. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball with a great deal of success versus the Chargers. So that means like Stroud's going to have to throw it. He's going to have to throw it. Who
Mm-hmm.
else is going to step up for Houston, Matt?
I mean, there's just nobody really stepping up right now. I mean, Jaden Higgins is an interesting name, obviously. He averages 1.3 yards per route on the season against zone coverage. Nico Collins has still been really productive against zone, 2.01 yards per route. It's just when they're typically having those monster games, it's in isolated man coverage looks. But obviously, I think Nico's one of the best receivers in football. He can have a good game,
Yes.
absolutely no matter what. Like I'm not questioning whether Nico can bear the load of this passing game. I think that can absolutely happen. But when you're just looking at like even the last since CJ Stroud got back, yeah, Jaden Higgins has been nice. He's got 10 passes for 120 yards. He's run a route on 62% of the dropbacks. So maybe he is the option there. They move him around the formation a little bit. They get him routes off the line of scrimmage. I do like his work on big crossing routes against zone coverage. So maybe it could be him. But the reality is, Ray, it is just Nico Collins and it's Dalton Schultz. Like I think it'll have to be Dalton Schultz sort of as the dump off receiver here to just kind of keep the chains moving because nobody else is a full-time player on this offense.
Talk to me about the running game then, Matt. Talk to me about your confidence level in, let's just go back to the two-headed monster of Woody Marks. And if Nick Chubb's active, he's going to touch the ball. So do you have any confidence in these guys versus the Chargers defense?
Chargers since week 12 give up 305 rushing yards. That's the fewest in the NFL. The 3.5 yards per carry. I don't see how Houston can run this ball and like be one of those offenses and that's another thing too. When teams have gotten the Chargers, when you're running at them, that isn't great. And Houston has tried to use like inside zone, and I think Marks has been solid in that regard. But they don't have those guys. Like think about what Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt had a big game against this team. It's the perimeter, like gashing runs to the outside. I don't think Woody Marks is that guy. Nick Chubb definitely ain't that guy.
No.
Jawar Jordan maybe has flashed some big play ability, but I still think he's too unproven to set your watch by. I don't think the run game can have success in this matchup.
Yeah, and that's going to maybe Nico just gets volume to death, right? We're sitting here talking through all the ways in which Houston may need to play. In every corner and every door we open, it's like, no, I don't think they can run. There's not really another receiver. So then it just points back to if this is a truly good football team, a team that is in position, they want to have a deep playoff run, then Nico's going to step up. Maybe that's the answer, Matt. Maybe the answer is just it's a big Nico Collins game. Nico, George Pickens had a great game versus the Chargers. CeeDee Lamb may have had had it just been him or no Flournoy, CeeDee Lamb was not invisible. So maybe the answer is just Nico Collins, and that's who you bank on to have just a monster day versus the Chargers.
I mean, last time these two teams played, it was in the playoff game last year against the wild card round, and it was Nico Collins dominating, and the defense took over the game. That's pretty much what they're going to have to hope happens here. Like, that's the formula for this Texans team. The defense takes over the game and dominates, and Nico Collins and CJ Stroud do just enough because they couldn't run the ball last year and they didn't have a secondary threat, and they beat this Chargers team in the postseason. Now, this Chargers team is a little bit different, and we can transition over to them here, but because I do think, again, this Chargers team is a little bit different. You could argue it's probably worse along the offensive line. Last year in the playoff game, Ray, they had Joe Alton, they had Rashawn Slater. They ain't got those guys now. And I feel as if Herbert is going to experience some serious whiplash going from a guy that had one of the best quarterback games of the season against the Cowboys to now playing the other team in Texas and probably not finding the same level of success.
Yeah, probably not going to find the same level of success. You see on the screen right here, Kamani Vidal didn't practice on Tuesday. Listen, this defense it's very bad. It's very good. It's a very bad matchup for the Chargers, right? I talked about it with the Dallas Cowboys game. Last Sunday was the first time this season Justin Herbert did not get sacked because Dallas can't generate pressure. That's not what they do. They are one of the worst teams at the NFL at generating pressure. Well, Houston, not so much. A little bit different over here. I do think those tackles, they want to throw Trevor Penning out there. You want to put Pipkins out there against Will Anderson? Good luck. Be my guest. Their pressure to sack rate, 7th in the NFL, 8.7%. Number 4 against the pass are this Houston Texans defense. Total yards given up. And here's the thing. Ashton Jeanty has a good game. So then people's initial thought is, well, that defense can't be that good. Like it ain't. Don't let what he did in that isolated moment skew you from the fact that all the other running backs, all the other didn't have that type of game versus this Houston defense. So I do
Mm-hmm.
think that their ability to impact Herbert, which we know there is, when he is under pressure, it's a completely different offense. It's a completely
Mm-hmm.
different Justin Herbert. This isn't Dallas. I'm glad he had the type of game that he had last week, and I was very confident in my proclamation that he would be a top fantasy scorer. This is one where I'm back to the same thing, Matt. Process over the results. And the process here is this matchup for this Texans defensive line. They should absolutely feast. And they didn't have Azeez Al-Shire, their Pro Bowl linebacker. He wasn't even in the game versus Dallas.
Good
He was
point.
out with an injury. I don't know if he's back or not, but this is a completely different beast for the Chargers right here. That is the Texans defense.
Yeah, it's a huge whiplash moment for the passing game in particular. The Texans defense, it's interesting. They've gone into like more single high looks, which, you would think like, okay, great. You're going to play a lot of single high. Maybe you're giving up a lot of production to the outside receivers. They don't. They've given up the 11th most yards to receivers lined up. 19th most yards to receivers lined up out wide, 84 yards per game since week 11. Like wide receivers on the outside don't have big plays against this team. They actually give up the 11th most yards to slot wide receivers, 81 yards per game since week 11. So it's just a tough defense to figure out. Now Herbert's one of the smartest quarterbacks in the NFL. I think Herbert is so good pre-snap. He's a quarterback's quarterback. I really am a fan of Herbert's game, and especially the intelligence that he plays with. So he can obviously, kind of unwind and figure out some of these Texans coverages, but man, it's just going to be tough behind that offensive line with these pass rushers. The more we talk about this game, Ray, the more I think this is going to be a low scoring one. I think
Yeah.
it could be pretty similar and look, it's 39.5 point total. I could see it being under that. I could truly see by the time this game comes around, it's actually been bet down to a lower number. I think this could be a lower scoring game. And it pretty much is like, hey, does Lad McConkey make a play for the Chargers? Does Nico Collins make a play for the Texans? And that's pretty much it. Because otherwise, I don't know that you can play too many of these guys against either one of these defenses here. Now, Amari and Hampton is somebody to talk about here. Hampton, I mean, looks the part. He looks good. He's going to get a bump in playing time with Kamani Vidal not out there. He's been used a little bit as a designed pass catcher. I think that could be important here for Houston. You see that sometimes for the great defenses. They'll give you production underneath, both in the run game, but also in your pass game to running backs. So I think Hampton is a guy that, not going to say he's going to have a Genty type game, but certainly could be in play here as a running back 2 in fantasy.
Yeah, absolutely. And the volume, right? Hampton has looked really good since returning from his injury. Vidal's going to have a role on this team, I think, for a while. But it's no doubt that the priority should be get number 28, Omarion Hampton, the ball. Number 8, excuse me. I'm going back to his college number 8, Omarion Hampton, the ball. I think he's fine against Houston. Like, this is still, Genty carried the ball 24 times in that game, and he popped the 2 big plays, one of them being in the passing game. But it was not an easy test for Ashton Genty, right? He didn't just go out there and light up this Houston Texans defense, gashing them run after run. It was a physical game, and he got the volume. Geno Smith, you look at what they did. It wasn't much, right? The leading receiver was Ashton Genty. Then it was Jack Besh. Then it was Trey Tucker and Brock Bowers. It wasn't like there's a lot of receivers out there anyway. I do think that Hampton's going to have to take pressure off of Herbert. My concern is that there is no Kamani Vidal because Hampton in pass pro is still not good. They don't trust him out there in those situations. That's my only concern. Not to bench him, but this is a tough matchup. I'm with you. 39.5, as low as it is, Matt, it still seems a little higher. There will be interceptions thrown. I think Herbert and CJ Stroud may give the ball away. This is a great game. Like, don't get it twisted. We're talking negatively or bearishly about some of the players, but this is an awesome matchup right here.
Who do you think wins if you had to pick it?
If I had to pick it, I'm going to take the Chargers. As much as I want to lean on the defense, I do think that Houston's inability to probably run the ball, I just don't trust Chubb, Marks, or Jawar Jordan to really do enough. I'll lean on the run game of the Chargers. Justin Herbert at home. And I know, Matt, it wasn't a big day for those receivers, but it's been a while, right? Ladd and Keenan Allen and QJ. It was good to see them playing like how they played earlier this season, right? Does that
Yeah,
carry over
sure.
here versus Houston? Maybe not, but at least it's some momentum that maybe we can do some different things here. And they're probably forced into that with no Vidal and some of the other things that are happening in this offense. If I had to pick, I'd pick LA.
11th most yards per game, like I said, to slot receivers. I do think we get a couple of big Lad McConkey plays here, and that's just enough for the Chargers to win. I just trust. Look, everybody is going to talk about, oh my God, Justin Herbert in this offensive line going against Houston. And I agree. It's going to be a tough day on offense for Justin Herbert and the boys over there. But I think it's also a pretty tough day for CJ Stroud and that offense going against the Chargers defense. And right now, I just have a little bit more faith in what's going on with Justin Herbert and those guys on offense. And I think Stroud and this team can, in a one-game sample in the playoffs, upset somebody. Shoot, they could upset the Chargers in the playoffs. That could conceivably happen if that matchup ends up happening. But I just think this is a bit of a tougher spot for them on the road in LA. So yeah, give me the Chargers by a little bit here too. Last game we are going to talk about, Baltimore Ravens at Green Bay Packers. Packers right now are 2.5-point home favorites, 40.5-point over under. Another game that is a little bit difficult to talk about because once again, we come back to the theme. We don't know who's playing in this one. We're obviously recording this on Tuesday night. We don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to play. We don't know if Jordan Love is going to play. Malik Willis said today at practice that he expects to go in this game. So if let's live in a world where both quarterbacks. Let's live in a world where Lamar Jackson is playing for the Baltimore Ravens when we talk about them. What do we expect from the Ravens when they have the ball going into this Packers defense that, I don't know about you, Ray, but it felt like a unit that was still good, but did not have Micah Parsons in that game against Chicago to finish it off.
It's absolutely a unit that is still good, but it's absolutely a unit that no longer has Micah Parsons. You asked me the question, what do we think about the Ravens when they have the ball? That was the question, right, Matt? I want to make sure I'm answering this the right way. I was more pissed off with the coaching decisions of the Ravens in that game than I have been any team in the NFL this season, and I'm not even a Ravens fan.
Wow.
I don't trust them. I'll be honest with you. I don't trust them. I think there was coaching malpractice that happened in Baltimore on Sunday Night Football. I think the Ravens deserve to lose that game when you've got a running back that you've paid all that money to, averaging 7 yards an attempt, and he doesn't touch the ball from the 12-minute mark of the fourth quarter to the end of the game because you want to work Keaton Mitchell in, you want to do some different things. You know what the Ravens were forced to do at the end of the game? Trying to come back, throwing the damn ball to Rasheen Ali because you refused to give Derrick Henry the ball. The only reason they were in that game at that point in time. I don't trust them. I do not. And a lot of people are going to look at this one game, but this has been a problem of Baltimore all year long. All year long. When Zay Flowers looks like he's going good, they stop throwing him the ball. The tight end position, you paid Mark Andrews this money. I think he might have 2 catches since he got a contract, Matt. 2 damn receptions since he got the contract extension. There's no Isaiah Likely. I know he's going to drop it in the end zone. At least he'll give me 40 yards before we get to the end zone. It makes no sense at all. Lamar ain't 100%. I don't think they're a good team. It took me 16 weeks to just come to that revelation. They're not a good football team. They're not a good offensive unit. There's no cohesiveness there. They don't have enough weapons in the passing game. I love Derrick Henry and I love Lamar Jackson. I don't love this team right now, and I don't love this matchup. I don't. If Lamar's on the field, great. Much better. That gives him a chance to win. If it's Snoop Huntley, I don't care if it's Malik Willis, Bruce Willis, or Willis Reed. They will win. They will lose the game. I'm telling you right now. So, no, I don't have a lot of faith in Baltimore's offense. They need to run the ball with Derrick Henry. Get the ball to Zay Flowers, but I don't trust him, Matt.
I have to fact check you, Ray. Mark Andrews has 5 catches since they signed him to a contract extension in 3 games.
Excuse me.
So he has averaged 3 games, 5 catches. not even, about two per game. So you were right. He had two. He has two per game. There you go.
There we go. There we go.
Terrific. Yeah. Tough, obviously, in terms of what we're getting here from this whole offense. I agree with you, man. Something just feels off about Baltimore this year, and I kind of gave up the ghost on them a while ago in terms of them being a good team, and it just seems to be getting weirder and weirder. I mean, you've got Mark Andrews, pitching the ball back like that he's got that highlight. If you're looking for Mark Andrews highlights since he signed the contract extension, you've got tush push stuff and you've got him pitching the ball back for whatever reason at the end of the second quarter. I mean, just bizarre stuff from Mark Andrews there. I don't know what's going on. That feels bizarre. The Derrick Henry usage feels bizarre. They have like no answers on offense. They've had no answers on offense all year, especially in the passing game. They're, rotating in DeAndre Hopkins a bunch. He has like one cool catch a game and that's it. Zay Flowers makes mental mistakes. It's just, I don't think they're a good team at all. I don't think they're a good offense. I do think their defense can still keep them in this game. Especially if it's Malik Willis on the other side. I think Malik played really well on Saturday night, and I do think Malik Willis is an interesting free agent. I actually think he's a pretty interesting fantasy starter potentially if he does get out there in this game. I think he's a potential streamer in Superflex formats. I know I have one team where I have Lamar Jackson in a fantasy football championship. If he doesn't go, I'm ready to spend the whole budget on Malik Willis as a free agent and pick him up and potentially start him. So yeah, I think he's potentially good there because they do give up the fifth most yards per game to receivers lined up out wide. Do the Baltimore Ravens since week 11. They allow a league low 3.5 yards per run. So I don't think that this is a game where whether it's a banged up Josh Jacobs, dragging his leg into the game, or it's Emmanuel Wilson starting, I don't think this is a game where the Packers can control it on the ground. I think they will have to throw to win here.
Yeah, that's the one thing the Ravens defense, they've played better of late, although that was an egregious pass interference missed call on Kayshon Boutte down there from Marlon Humphrey. But yeah, like that, when you just think about that game, all the momentum was tilting in the favor of Baltimore, and their inability to close out games, to win close ones, like they should have won that game, Matt. The game plan here, when the Ravens have the ball, even though this Packers defense is still tough, it should be Derrick Henry. It's time. It's December. It's playoff season. They've got to win out and get help. I think they're still mathematically in it. It should be Derrick Henry, and that's how the game started off. First series of the game, Henry scores a touchdown, and then you get to the fourth quarter when he ties it up for you, and they just avoid him. They're trying to find these explosives through Keaton Mitchell. And did you hear John Harbaugh after the game? He said it. He was like, yeah, Derrick should be out there. He should have been out there when we're trying to win the game. We're trying to rotate backs. But he just said, yeah, Derrick should have been out there. It should be King Henry's time here come week 17, but I just don't trust it, Matt.